it mandatory that the Steelers draft a quarterback?
Wasn't Aller viewed at one point? He was like one of the top guys.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
last year.
Right.
The year before, not this.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why when we talk about next year's draft supposed to be great,
It always
you just
change.
don't necessarily know. But I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna surprise you guys.
Really?
Will Howard.
Because they got this guy named
No,
Will
you
Howard.
can't. know it. He loves Ohio
Hold on.
State guys.
Will Howard
Ohio State
started about
quarterbacks are-
30, played 50 college games.
Yeah.
Started about 30, won a national championship with Ohio State. I get it, they had a ton of talent around him.
Still.
But he put up big numbers. He's 6'4", got the size.
6'4".
I'm just saying, here's the thing. I don't necessarily want two young so-so prospects, right? I don't need two young, maybe average type prospects in my quarterback room. So play Howard. Worst case scenario, he's horrible. Guess what? We are near the top of next year's draft, and maybe we get our quarterback then. So I think that's a better move than bringing in Aaron Rodgers, winning 8, 9, 10 games, making the playoffs maybe, and getting blasted in the first round. So I would tell Mike McCarthy, look, you're our coach. We're the Steelers. We don't fire guys haphazardly. You're our coach. If we are bad this year, we're all right.
So I'm fine with all that, but they should just keep throwing darts at quarterback. Because I know I put the moratorium on the Rodgers thing.
Yeah.
But this tangentially is a Rodgers thing. I just want to remind the audience, the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers in January, it's tax day, it's April 15th, in January, said we expect a decision by Aaron in the next month or so. Okay, well, it's not here. They then amended it. They're like, we expect it by the draft. I don't know that they're getting it by the draft. And the Steelers, at the tail end of Big Ben, they drafted Josh Dobbs in the 4th round. That was a good pick. You know what I mean? That guy's still in the league. Like, even if it wasn't like that was, you threw a dart. They drafted Mason Rudolph in the 3rd round. That was a fun, like, for a quarterback, he's still in the league. It's been 8 years. In 2022, they drafted Kenny Pickett in the 1st round, and then also drafted Chris Olajuwon, who started a game for the couple games with the Chiefs last year, in the 7th round. They just drafted Will Howard in the 6th round. If you don't have a quarterback, every year you should draft one. And even if Aaron says he's coming, they should still draft one in the mid-rounds. Throw a dart. Hope you stumble onto Dak Prescott. It's very rare, but the value of that lottery ticket is so much higher than any other mid-round pick if you don't have the quarterback. So whether Rodgers is there or not, Brew, I would just add to it because I don't know that the 6th round pick last year, Will Howard, will be better than a 5th round pick they get this year. I don't know.
Yeah, so if we're talking about at some point throughout their draft process, should they draft a quarterback? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying with their 1st round pick. I don't think there's a guy worthy of the 1st round
Okay,
pick.
I
thought we were
figured
talking first round.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just meant at some point in the draft they have to throw a dart.
Yeah,
at quarterback.
I'm with that.
Okay.
But not at not with your first pick.
Oh.
Nope. Because
You don't believe in Ty Simpson.
none of these guys you really believe in.
Right.
You don't believe in none of these guys. Even Drew Aller, a guy who you've seen play because he's across the way. Like, you still don't believe in all of these guys. You did that with Pickett when he was at Pitt. Oh, we saw this guy. We know his character. We've watched him play. Look, the Pittsburgh Steelers, do I believe that they should draft a quarterback? Yes. Unlike Andy Reid or a Sean McVay, who I believe always is going to be and I hate to do this to Mike McCarthy, is going to have a plan. I think their plan is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And it's and so naturally, when you start to think that way, you start to curate a roster to support that, meaning you're going to get an offensive lineman because there's some good offensive linemen you can get in the 1st round. You're going to bolster up that to make it look like, okay, we're going to protect you so we can push the ball down the field a little bit more than what we did last year. Don't like getting the ball out your hand so quick. I know you're older, but you got to hold on to the ball a little bit longer for us. Well, in order for him to do that, you got to be able to protect. One way to protect, you bolster up that offensive line. So I think that's the path that they're going to take. At some point, though, you do need to go get a quarterback because you can't just throw all your eggs in the basket.
Right, because even if the plan is Aaron Rodgers for this year, God willing, world ain't ending after this year, and you have to keep playing football in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
This is exactly why I always love that word. People say, well, listen, they're going to have to upgrade the offensive line for Aaron Rodgers. But you have to upgrade the offensive line no matter who the quarterback is. Whether it's Aaron Rodgers, Drew Aller, or Will Howard. And this is what they just touched on. They kind of glossed over it when they said, wasn't he supposed to be Drew Aller? Wasn't he originally considered a top pick? And now he's really fallen off, and they're talking about next year's draft and all that. And that's the thing. It's always next year's draft. Next year's draft is always supposed to be the deepest, best quarterback class. Every single year it's like that. They said the same thing about this year. I remember it so vividly. That's why Colin went on an entire rant about it. That's why Sean McVay traded the pick and passed on Jackson Dart, because next year's draft is supposed to be so deep. And that's what the Cleveland Browns are doing. That's why they moved their pick. Everyone is just waiting for this draft, this draft, this draft. Now people are saying, I don't even know how good Mendoza really is. People are questioning whether the Raiders should trade Mendoza. And it's like, okay, so it's always next year, next year, next year, next year. It's always some other sweepstakes you're chasing, right? Manning, or whoever. So that's why I went on my whole rant yesterday about Ty Simpson. If you believe in Ty Simpson, TH. And just go get Ty Simpson. That's where you have to trust your own homework. It's not about just throwing a dart at the board like Nick is suggesting. You come up with a plan. And again, if you think Will Howard is the guy, then go in that direction. And I appreciate them, Dave. I guess they've been conducting visits with everyone. I actually appreciate that. I appreciate them doing their due diligence and trying to find value. I really, truly do. But I don't think this is some big situation where they're just waiting on Aaron Rodgers. It seems like Aaron Rodgers wants more money than the Steelers are willing to give up. This isn't just Aaron Rodgers saying, I don't know if I'm going to play or retire. At least that's not how I read the situation. And that's why I went on a whole rant saying, if you think you have your quarterback, whether it's Will Howard or Ty Simpson, and you can go draft him, then pay Aaron Rodgers. Because the amount of money you give him isn't just for his on-field production. You also get to sit your rookie quarterback and have him learn and be mentored by Aaron. That's worth the extra money, without a doubt. If you don't want to play that game, then fine, move on from Aaron Rodgers. Roll out Will Howard. If he succeeds and wins, that's fantastic. If he's terrible, then apparently 2027 is going to be the best quarterback draft, right? And maybe you're in the Manning sweepstakes or whatever name you want to throw out there. Great. Then it becomes a why. And either way. So to me, in a lot of ways, it actually becomes very straightforward. If you believe you have your franchise quarterback of the future right now in Will Howard, or maybe Drew Aller, or Ty Simpson, then pay Aaron Rodgers. Let the rookie sit for another year. Have him learn under Aaron. Continue to build up the roster. Blah blah blah. If you don't think you have that quarterback of the future, if you're on the fence, especially now with Will Howard, then at this point I'd say there's no reason to do the whole song and dance with Aaron Rodgers. Just put Will Howard out there. And again, best case scenario, he's awesome. The other best case scenario is he's awful, and then you get to draft at the top of the order next year. Either way, it's a win-win. And honestly, if you're going to look at it through that lens, then stop playing games with Aaron Rodgers. To me, Aaron Rodgers makes the most sense when you're trying to mentor and transition to your quarterback of the future. That is actually the only path forward that makes real sense to me. That's what I would do at this point. Anything else just feels like you don't really have a plan. You're just trying to make the best of a situation. And that's not how you operate when you need a real plan. If you're constantly just making the best of a short-term situation, by definition it's always just a band-aid, right? It's always like, oh, I have a leak. Let me just patch it. Oh, here's another problem. Let me just, always doing a fixer-upper instead of saying, no, here's my plan. We need to redo this, redo that. You know what? This house isn't good. I need to move. This apartment isn't working. I'm moving to a new city, a new town. You're always just trying to survive rather than thrive. And that's why I keep saying, what's the plan? Have the plan and execute. Have the plan and execute. Don't just keep trying to make do with what you have. So yeah, the Steelers continue to be in this weird, floating space where it's like, what's your plan? I can look at other teams that clearly have a concrete plan. I see it with Tennessee, with teams that have been bad and struggling. I see it with the Tennessee Titans. It makes sense. I see it with the Las Vegas Raiders. It makes sense. It's clear, it's sharp. You understand the path they're looking to take to move forward. You see it. It's a straight line. This song and dance right now with the Steelers? I'm like, what are you trying to accomplish right now? What is the situation? So I'm curious where this lands. Is it Ty Simpson? Is it Drew Aller? Is it Will Howard? Is it Aaron Rodgers? I find it frustrating because I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are too great of a franchise, with too great of a history. And I don't really care about history when it comes down to it. I care about what we're doing right now. But I'm thinking about the fans and everything, and I'm just like, I should have a better sense of you being a better run franchise in this moment. With a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, I should be overflowing with excitement right now in April about all the potential things they can do. And yet I'm overflowing with excitement about the Las Vegas Raiders and the Tennessee Titans and such. I could not be more thrilled about the moves those teams are making. Heck, even the New York Giants. And yet I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and I think, on a spectrum, I'm not calling you the New York Jets. You're certainly not the Jets. But on a spectrum, you're closer to the Jets than to how I feel about the moves the Raiders are making. Even a team like the Tennessee Titans went out and hired an excellent defensive coach, got a great offensive coordinator who has worked with elite quarterbacks in the past. And it's like, okay, I see what you're doing. I see the moves you made in free agency. Is every single thing a home run or a grand slam? No. But I see the moves. I see the trajectory. And if Kenny Pickett ends up being the quarterback you hope he is, you're going to have a ton of success over the next couple of years in the short term, and then the rest is about how you do in the draft and free agency, etc. I see the path. I see what they're trying to do. The Pittsburgh Steelers? I'm like, what's the plan for this year? What trajectory are you looking to follow right now? What's the plan here? Where are you trying to go? I don't know. And do the Steelers even know? But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their plan? 1 minute we're talking about Ty Simpson, the next minute it's Drew Aller, then Will Howard, then Aaron Rodgers. Where do you stand on the Pittsburgh Steelers? Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree, either way, let's get some discussions going, some debates. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here. I'd absolutely love to see you as part of it. I want to build something we all genuinely feel connected to. Something we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye.